Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to 90 at 9. This is your morning briefing where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, starting now with news that credit default swaps on Greek debt have been triggered. The forced restructure late last week of debt held by private creditors has been termed a default. So this is in effect a controlled default by Greece. Now, about $3 billion worth of credit default swaps will be triggered. Most people aren't worried this will cause real problems in financial markets. But it's worth noting Greece has formally defaulted. Meanwhile, US jobs growth was slightly stronger than expected in February. It was solid at about 227,000. There are signs of recovery in America's jobs market. The Dow rose only 0.1% though. The New Zealand dollar is pretty solid at just on 82 cents. Meanwhile, the Chinese trade deficit in February was the biggest in 22 years, and that's partly because of the European slowdown in imports of Chinese exports. Inflation, however, slowed to 3.2%, and that's good news for China because it's got an inflation problem. This increases hopes that China will be able to stimulate its economy to get itself going again. Also, signs that China is increasing its imports is good in the long run for the likes of us. A more balanced China is good for the world. However, not in the short run. Signs of slowing Chinese economy is not so good for Australia. And there's also talk of a slump in Australian iron ore exports to China. And finally, the Labour opposition has announced plans for a private members' bill to essentially entrench the judgment on Crayfor Farms into law. This would mean foreign ownership of large chunks of land would need to prove that it benefited New Zealand first. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was 90 at 9, brought to you from interest.co.nz.